Welcome everyone to Adventures into Reality with myself, Kathy Ma, and normally the Galactic historian Andrew Bartzis. However, today he will not be on the show. He is still in this snowy country of Canada and has very limited internet access. So today the Galactic historian will not be on the show. It is just me, Kathy Ma. If you'd like to learn more about Andrew, please check out his website at andrewbartzis.com. If you'd like to learn more about me, please check out my website, which is kathyspearlsofwisdom.com. That's Kathy with a K. And remember, you can get a private session with Andrew and myself by contacting Tenoch at galactichistorian.com. That's TENOCH at galactichistorian.com. And also, for those of you that are calling in via Skype, just to remind you that if you're calling in through Skype, you must add Laura Lee to your contacts in Skype, as she is the one that's putting you through to us. If she has not accepted and confirmed you on her Skype contact list, she can't put you through. So don't forget to do that. And as usual, the lines are always so crazy busy. So if you keep getting a busy signal, please be patient. The numbers to call, you can call direct to Laura, which is 1 for US, 956-217-0261, or the station, which is 1 for US, 347-688-2902. So let's get straight to our first caller today. 626. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Hi. I don't know if you might remember me. I'm Dan. I'm calling out from California. We spoke before.
Mm-hmm.
I called in when Andrew wasn't in. But in those weeks, I was trying to get through it, and I was kind of disappointed he wasn't going to be in today either. So.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's I'm just sort of sorry to hear that whatever the it's anyhow. I just wanted to kind of make kind of more sense of I've been watching more of Andrew's stuff the preceding weeks, so. That's kind of what I wanted to ask him is really, you've kind of, assuming you've probably known him for some time, how much, I don't want to sound like a kind of a critic, if you will, but because we live in an age where, the media, the American mainstream media is just so full on corrupted to where, people, you have to be really naive to really believe what people say about, and then, they have these, or they put out their background or their credibility, like that's something that we should just blindly accept as far as sort of regardless of the subject matter that they're talking about, just this idea of credibility of that, what our ancient ancestors used to call honor. People don't think about these concepts anymore. It's like, it's really, and then here in the Western world, even more so, because that's, at least the idea of honor, in my opinion, is much more still kind of, it's much more strongly kind of practiced, I think, in Asian cultures. So
certainly the concept of honor is very strong within Asia. Although even within Asia, I think they are also experiencing some changes to the sense of honor, much like what has happened or, has been happening, has happened for a while on the Western side of things. It's almost as if it's not so much a cultural thing as a changing in times. Because, when I look at what's gone on, when I say olden times, let's just say 50, 100 years ago, for example, your word meant a lot. It's like your word is your bond, right? And people expected a certain amount of things or actions or accountability because of your word and your honor. Whereas over time, this has become, especially within, let's say, the business side of things, it's like, it's dog eat dog. What I say today isn't really necessarily what I'm going to do tomorrow. And it's all very, like a snake slithering under your feet.
Right.
And it's very disillusioning because you can no longer really, in your own heart, you find it very difficult to trust. I mean, these are my experiences, and I can tell in your energy, these are the same for you, and many, many, many of our listeners. It's when you get to a certain point where you become disillusioned with people's their words, what they truly mean, what they're going to do about it or not do about it. What we would call honor these days is not necessarily the same definition, but let's just call it holding people to what they say, having an accountability to really follow through with things that they have said, rather than, a month later, that's not what I said, or I can no longer do that. That sense of disillusionment comes through very strong because of the lack of follow through. And I think it's also part of the way the world is going. I mean, I have had conversations with a lot of people in my industry about this, and someone's got. Oh, thank you. And it's appearing all around the world, and a lot of it is, people blame the internet and the media for all their easy passing on of rubbish or loosely said things as facts, etc. But I'm not even that sure it really is that. And a lot of us kind of can concede that is part of it. But I think also part of it is that people can see that it's easy to worm out of what they say. So therefore, they feel less accountable. But I do think that you are seeing a resurgence here and there of the sense of honor coming back within people. When people feel that they're in a powerful position and then there is pride taken with what they say, often honor follows. It's when the pride is not there and the clarity is not in their mind, that's when you have the trouble with the honor.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like something I've really more noticed, with our society. I mean, maybe in your experience as well, I mean, if you notice certain people who've had certain vocation, like let's just say like people who served in the military. I kind of noticed that a lot of, and I have a lot of vet friends myself who I'm also served as well. I'm a veteran myself, so I feel like we're not so easily sucked into the propaganda or just the kind of the way our modern society is set up, where it's like a lot of the stuff in media and Hollywood. Let's just establish that Hollywood and media are kind of the same difference. So they, whatever their agenda is, I mean, the fact is.
Are you saying you're not going to drink the Kool-Aid?
Exactly. And then the military vets don't really have that. We're just not sucked into that the sort of machinery. So, and that speaks volumes about, because we also kind of, we're more aware, and we maintain this on the surface level, our sense of honor, credibility, because we kind of hold each other to a certain account. I mean, like a lot of vets I talked to, like, just because we left the service doesn't mean that you should just do whatever the heck you want to do, or you kind of, you lower your standards personally for yourself as a person.
I understand what you mean.
You still maintain those. And that's a great kind of training and the experience of it, like. Where I still kind of carry that with me, no matter what.
You and everyone in the armed forces, you've been through some incredible training, and you are taught about honor, and every day is about honor. Every night is about honor. Every day is about being accountable, and you have to be more discerning. You are trained to be that because this is what you do. Whereas today's society, you have to look at the education system, the family dynamics, everything. People don't really put a lot of focus on that kind of thing anymore within this education system or the family upbringing system. They tend to focus on different ideologies. The sense of honor, I think today they almost assume that, the youth of today should know it, whereas really they don't know it. All they can do is mimic what they see. And how many movies are we subjected to that are just, loose morals, no sense of honor? I'm going to make this $1 million, so I'm just going to say this and actually 2 seconds later do something else. But with all this stuff that's going on, that is being exposed to, let's call it the youthful generation of today, they grew up believing stuff like that because to them that is their reality. They don't have as much life experience because for them they look on the internet and they think it's all true. Well, that's a grand statement. Probably not. They think it's all true, but a lot to them is believable. Whereas if you've come from a more old school kind of teaching, especially if you've been in the armed forces, you're taught to think. You accept nothing that's shown to you like that. Right?
Right.
And you're taught to expect more from people, and if you don't get more from people, you'll call them out, and it's okay to call them out. Whereas here in let's call it modern day society, if a kid was to call someone out saying what they're talking is rubbish, they'll probably end up being suspended or told off by someone else's parents because they were aggressive.
Right.
The world has changed so much that it's very difficult to see how that they can ever really get those sense of values and beliefs instilled in them that we were brought up with, and that we, you're talking about an issue which for me is a big hot topic too, because I look at it and think, I don't understand. I could see your energy as well, and I still don't understand.
This is the kind of the thing that people don't think about. Invention of like the television. It's like just the previous show. I believe Solaris Raven was the host. She was basically talking about all the covert technology. I may not completely agree with some of the things she's talking about, but on a just a basic level, there's something to be said about thinking about, television kind of, if you kind of, people study this, research this a little bit and understand how a television really works. The whole passivity of it, like in terms of you're just watching, you're literally just watching something, whatever it is, and it's just the notion you're not learning
going
something,
into you.
You're not raising your consciousness. You're just being passive, and it's like that doesn't. For me, that's very disturbing in terms of like it just numbs you. It numbs you. So, and that's regardless of whatever and then of course we're just talking about whatever television show you're watching. You're watching something with sexual innuendos or violence. That's usually the big themes. Even comedy is like rather dark. It's not even really. I don't find most comedy even funny. That's why a lot of these comedians are so controversial these days, because it's like, well, they're just sort of. They don't even realize that they're part of that sort of, I would call it kind of almost like a social engineering kind of agenda aspect. I don't know, how do you want to word it? I don't want to kind of get too
I understand what you
about
mean.
it, but it's just like there is like something to this that it's just like, this isn't really good for people. I look at it the same way like food, like GMOs, like what Monsanto's doing, it's kind of like the same thing for our mind. And it's like, for our psychic energy, it's like I look at it that way. That's why I kind of,
I understand what you're saying, but you also have to look at it from a different point of view as well, in that, free will exists everywhere. I think people are really not as naive as you might think. They make conscious choices to be distracted and listen to mumbo jumbo and be entertained by mundane things, because they don't want to ask themselves the bigger questions. They don't want to face it. They don't want to deal with it. And, that's their journey, and, not for you or me, but that's just the way it is. So, because you have this part of society that, I don't want to say happy to do that, let's say content to continue their life like this, it just perpetuates the situation. One of the things that I probably would recommend for what that I do myself is when this kind of stuff frustrates me is to actually sort of think of it. Every time I get frustrated, I think, you know what, that's their choice. Not for me. I can choose to walk off. If they want to stay like that, that is okay. But there is a huge batch of people out there that's not like that. And those are the ones that I'm going to seek
Right.
out. It is frustrating. I'll give you that for sure.
Right.
And
Right.
it's like watching a kid that hasn't learned that they shouldn't put their hand in the door jamb before they shut the door. It's like you,
Right. I
you
understand.
think
I
once
understand.
or twice they'd learn, but no.
No, no,
So
and I'm just bringing this up because no, you bring up a good point about free will because the thing is, but then it also impedes my ability of my sort of free will in terms of like, I want to try to live my life a certain way, and it's like, a lot of our modern society is set up to, you can't like say advertising, you can't get away from that unless you're literally outside the city, that sort of thing. It's like, but that's just the extremes that people have to take or kind of live up like a hermit. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be a monk either. So I'm like,
yeah,
but there's
yeah.
such a specific emphasis on this consumerism, materialism part of our society. And that part of it, I think, is really toxic. And that's where kind of like it opens that door already for like people to kind of, well, that's the thing. It's like there's so many layers to this sort of thing with propaganda. Like, is it really free will, or is there the perception of free will? It's kind of like a lot of
I think it
the
is free
progressive
will.
media kind of put out that same thing. Like, is our
Yeah, I do
government?
too.
Do they give us that free will, or like, do we have democracy, or is it just the illusion of democracy? That's sort of, and that's what people are still trying to ravel in with this election. It's kind of crazy. Like, it's just that the after effects are still echoing, and it's like, wow, people
Well, I think
still haven't
a
waken
lot
up
of what's
to
yeah, a lot of what's
what's
gone on though, I think, is that the world itself, people have changed a lot. And, there's a lot of people freaking out about what's been going on. And at the end of the day, I think it's like to address your question, well, not your question, what you said about democracy. It's like democracy in its pure form, as with socialism, communism, everything in its pure form is one thing, and what it is in reality are different, right? Because you can never have pure anything because there are too many people involved. But let's say here, there certainly is a democratic process. Whether people want to agree with the result is a completely different issue. And the process has happened. People some have celebrated, some have, wanted to commit harikari, etc. Media's gone crazy either way, but at the end of the day, a decision has been made. So whether
right,
you are for it or against it, you have to get on board. You can't moany groany forever. And
right,
whenever there is anyone who is elected in any position anywhere, there's always moany groany people. And at the end of the day, you have to accept reality and make the best of it.
right.
Because
No, I
if
understand.
you don't, and this is what people will learn, um, and a lot of this frenzy of activity, I think, is because people are just very used to um, being able to talk, to have that free will, to keep talking. But I think the censoring of your own self, in the sense of, okay, I have talked a lot already. I really have to let other people talk or move on. I can't let this consume me.
Right, I
That little
understand.
bit is just not come yet, but it will come soon enough.
I
And the
understand.
times are different. And let's say 20 years ago in this sort of situation, you might moany groany to all your friends and that's it, right? Because you actually don't have access to that many people. But here in today's internet technological world, you can actually access millions of people. So it's like there is nothing that's like a door jam, like a door stop. And
Right, right.
that's becoming more and more as the world as we now know it is expanding and the technological side. So people are not familiar with how to do all that yet because even though we've had the internet a while, this kind of thing is still new and happening, and people haven't got to that point where that, okay, take a breath and now do something else with my life.
Right, right. Well, just in the scheme of things, I'm bringing up this issue of credibility and transparency, kind of going back to, I mean, because assuming you've probably known Andrew for some time, or in terms of the work, his work that he's doing. I'm just I'll be blunt about my question. Is like how real is what he's talking about for real? Like he's like. I sometimes I wonder, like, is he just making this stuff up just as a fantastical kind of idea or theory, with, I don't know. I guess it's only natural for me to be skeptical a little bit about this. I mean, I think
I understand what you're saying.
To his working. I mean, there's also the opposite end where people just kind of, it's just going back to that notion of people just so blindly accept whatever people say. I mean, it's especially the more fantastical, the better. And that's sort of like, people should, like, why don't people ever sit back and just sort of like, oh, is this real? Or how does that really work? I mean, so just to get your opinion about that. I mean,
okay.
Do you feel like it's real?
I'm trying to think of a good way to explain this to you that would make sense for you. When you ask me, about what Andrew says, as the Galactic historian, is all that stuff true? In a general way, I'm going to say to you, look at it like this. You yourself listen to all the material he has. I'm sure there's a lot of it that you can't really prove, because we're talking about, eons ago, different planets, different universes, different time zones, for sure. I mean, in that same way, you could look at past life regression and say the same thing, or even things that come out of people that are under hypnosis. So there is no definitive way to prove it. That is for sure. But when you listen to all his material, especially if you go back and even do some of the exercises that he does, it will resonate with you or it won't. Okay? And if you were, to play devil's advocate, if I say to you, well, you should, study it, do it. If it resonates, then it's true. If it doesn't resonate, it's not true for you. And you might say, oh, well, you could say that about anything. And then after listening to it 100 times, I'm going to believe it, whether it's true or not, because it's like suggestive to the brain. What I'd say to you, if that was the case, was, you know what, something like these kind of topics that he talks about, if you listen to it, let's say 4 or 5 times, and it doesn't resonate, it never will. If it resonates early on, then you will definitely find that there is some truth to it within yourself. Thank you so much for calling, Dan. I'm going to have to stop this for the break. Welcome back, everyone, to Adventures into Reality with myself, Kathy Ma, and normally with Andrew Barsis, the Galactic historian. But he is still in the snow in the wilds of Canada, so unfortunately cannot get to the internet today. And one of the things that we both wanted to say to everyone is thank you so much for all your support this year. Christmas is coming up, and it's one of those times where we're looking back over the year and seeing what we've done and how far we've come with this or that, and the people that we've met, the experiences that we've had. And we were even talking about it this morning, that it's just been so awesome to be able to have done this show, Adventures into Reality, with all of you. And thank you so much for listening all this time. I mean, I know we've passed the year. Andrew could tell me exactly how many weeks, but a year or so of doing this show. And for all your feedback has been wonderful. We both thank you so much for all your wonderful comments and your really helpful suggestions, and your support for both our websites. This will be our last show of this year, because we're about to go on our Christmas break. So we'll be back again in the new year. So if you want to keep updated on what we're doing, please check out Andrew's website, which is andrewbartzis.com, or my website, which is kathysperlsofwisdom.com. That's Kathy with a K, to look for what we're doing and what our updates are. And for those of you that are on the subscriber list, you will be getting the information in your email. So if you want to keep in touch and find out what's going on, what our new schedules are, please subscribe or check out our websites. And thank you so much, Dan, for calling. That was a really, really interesting amount of information. And I'm sure a lot of people are agreeing with the things that you're saying, and the confusion that we're all facing and the chaos. It is very difficult to comprehend some things that are going on at the moment, but everything does pan out once the excitement is all sort of dissipated a bit. And so that will be a much more fun, interesting time for all of us. And to just finish off what I was saying about Andrew's material is when you do listen to it, you only need to listen to it a couple of times. Let's say at the most 4 or 5, and it will resonate with you or not. And for most people, it does resonate well. And, when you are more self-aware and in tune with yourself and your higher development, let's call it, you really become very more discerning about what resonates with you and what doesn't. And when I say, to define what I mean by saying what resonates, it's like if you were told, you look out of the sky and someone says to you, oh, the sky is purple. And you're like, no, it's blue. But over time, if you were say it 100 times, you might start to believe that it's purple. And it doesn't really resonate with you, but you will believe it. So resonate means sit well with you, but over time your conditioning might lead you to believe something, and then change your mind, or not change your mind, but change your opinion on how you see things. So with Andrew's material, you'll often find, even in the early days, you'll think, you know what, I know that it's unquantifiable because you're talking about something that happened so long ago, or in a different dimension, or in a different galaxy, yet at the same time somehow it makes sense, and it's that inner knowingness that somehow even you can't explain it to yourself, yet it seems to make sense. And that's what his material does for you, and it also gets you to question yourself, which is a good thing. Like, oh, even though it seems kind of way out there, could this be an option? Could this be true? And so you do your own inner questioning, which helps you evolve as well, because you then learn to be more discerning. And, then you do things like call in and ask us, and we can help you clarify this and that. Or sometimes when the material is on the replay, you can always type a little question, and one of us will see it, maybe not immediately, but we will see it. And if we can answer you, we will. So anyway, we must keep going. One thing I'd like to add is we've had a couple of callers that are calling in and are forgetting to mute their speaker or cover the phone when they're waiting. So we get a lot of feedback, and we can hear the background noise. So please be mindful and respectful of everyone to mute or try and be in a more silent area so that it doesn't interfere with other callers calling in. So our next caller is Mallory. Are you there? Mallory?
Hi.
Hi. Where are you calling from, Mallory?
I'm calling from New York.
Oh, New York. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, what would you like to talk about today?
Actually, I was hoping that you could tap into my energy with, and I had like a few questions about my career and my love life. And I've been listening to you guys just via YouTube, and the last couple weeks, fairly new to your material, but I've been doing a lot of work on myself for a few years now. And I'm a little nervous to say what I actually want to speak about. So I was sort of hoping maybe
it's okay. Don't be nervous.
Okay.
A lot of people feel nervous, but there's no need to be. This is, you can say anything you want. Ask anything you want.
Okay, great. So one of my specific questions is, I believe that I've been given this gift to heal specifically through performance, my performance, and to heal through humor. And I have been a performer my whole life, since the age of 3 years old. And I am now at that point where I really want to continue down this pathway. In addition to performing, I teach yoga and meditation, and I'm basically just like, with this new year, I want to set some really great intentions and move forward. And I kept feeling like my ego wants to like make a move, if you will, but my intuition tells me that I'm absolutely in the right place by being here in New York City. But I wanted to basically make sure that the ideas that I have for my career are on the right path, and check in with you and just see if that is in fact true, and if you had any advice for me. And let me see what else. I have like a little list. And I think that as well, like I've been investing a lot in my career, and I wanted to make the transition from, instead of me spending money on my career, I'd like to make more income with my career from the other side of things. So that's sort of where I'm at, and what I wanted to get your feedback on. So
let me see if I got this right. So at the moment, your career is healing people through laughter and humor, performing. And you've been doing that for a while, and you want to know if you should continue in the same location that you're doing with this, and is it effective, or would a move to a different not country, different state or town be better? Is that kind of what you're asking?
Yeah, kind of. And I feel like I just tapped into like the reality of like, I believe where I am right now is correct. But now I guess it's more of a financial thing, I guess, is what more of my question is, that I do feel like I'm on the right path. I just wanted to figure out ways of, I guess, sort of enhancing what I've got going on more so. Yeah.
When I look at what's going on for you now and has been going on, to me, it looks like if let's call it, it's like a stunted career. Like it's just in sitting there. It's not really, to me, it hasn't really taken off. It's like you're in inertia, should we call it? Just basically not moving. I can't think of a fancy way to say that, but it's kind of like that.
Sure.
I like what you're doing, but I think that where you are is very difficult. You haven't, I know logically you think where you are is good, but to me, you've put yourself in a big ocean. Like you're a fish in a big ocean as opposed to being a big fish in a small pond. You know what I mean? So it's in terms of, I'm just going to say, let's say, get discovered, or someone come and offer you a bit more to go on a more direct path, let's call it. I think it's going to be tough. You're in New York, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I can understand why to you it's a logical place to be, because it's a happening place. There's a lot of action, theoretically a lot of opportunity. But what I think you've been experiencing is, even though this is the case in many senses, the competition is too tough, and so it's hard to be in the right place at the right time when there's 100 people trying to push you out of the way.
Sure.
Energetically push you out of the way, not literally.
Right. No, I got you.
But let me put it like this. If we talk about a location where I think that would suit you for you to really blossom in this kind of career, I would pick somewhere like Chicago. I know it seems very strange, but it is ripe for the picking for someone like you, because they do not have the type of talent that you have in that area. So for you to be performing down there, you would get bookings very easily. I know that's a big leap for you in terms of mentally and like whether a bit
Yeah.
scary. So what I would
Absolutely.
suggest for you is, why don't you think about doing 6 to 8 weeks there? Just treat it like a holiday kind of thing, and get
Okay.
some bookings in. Manage your money so that you can do it, because to me it looks like you could stay with someone you know, so your cost of living wouldn't be that high, and it's quite close to get to everywhere, so it's a fairly good location. Because once you get, let's say, once you perform, I would put it at 5 to 8 times, you will get offers to do others, and that will give you the confidence and motivation to consider that as a viable possibility. Because what you do really is unique there, and it's easier to get bookings, it's easier to get work, and therefore when it's easier to do it, you're working more, you get more exposure. You know, you become the big fish in the small pond. Whereas you stay where you are, I'm concerned that you might not get the opportunities that you could elsewhere, that could give you the kind of future that you want with this. And it would happen easily. That's the good thing about it. So let's call it, you go on a Chicago holiday for 2 months, okay? So that mentally it's much easier to accept. During this time, you'll find that you can easily find accommodation that's very, very reasonable for you. I think you'll probably end up staying with someone that you know, or that knows someone that needs to just have some company, or for a very teeny amount of money can give you a room, that kind of thing. To book a couple of shows or performances is easy. You could organize it in 2 weeks. So it's pretty easy. And then once you start going and people ask for your name card and etc., you then get more, like, everything happens very easily. It's not like you every day, send out 15 resumes and try and find all the names of the clubs. It's not so, it's not tough. You know, it's not like, you know, drinking honey is so super easy, but it's
no,
relatively
absolutely.
easy.
I completely understand what you're saying, and energetically, I understand that's a shift I've been wanting to make. Of course, that scares.
Of course, yeah. I mean, even when I look at it for you, I'm like, oh, yeah. And you know, it's a very strange thing, because when you first look at it, you think, oh, what? But then when you really start to think about it, so much of it makes sense, because you know, when we finish this call, the next few weeks, you'll start researching, you'll look around, and it will really make sense to you. Places that you can get, like, wow, really? And, you know, things just work out. Even places you think you couldn't perform in, it would happen. It's very strange. And sometimes you just don't question why. You just say thank you and move on with it. You know, but definitely try something small like that at the beginning, so your commitment level isn't high, and let yourself find that confidence. Because at the same time, you could think, well, you know, I do this and then it doesn't work. So, you know, it's you can still fall back to what you know. If you don't have that, you know, because it's a big thing to ask someone to do. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then
but thank you. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. And the other thing was about the love, right? Your question?
Yeah, I was listening to one of your guys' conversations, you know, on YouTube or something, and I felt like I might have been in alignment with one of the women you were speaking with, where I feel like I've been on an accelerated evolutionary path this year, which I think a lot of people feel that way. And I think that you had shared with her, and I don't know if this was resonating with me. It resonated with me when I heard it. You had said something along the lines of that this other woman was very much so evolving, and it was kind of not necessarily hard, but a little bit challenging for lovers to catch up. And I just wanted to see if there's anything that you could recommend. I think I'm doing a lot of the right things, but if there's anything else you can share with me on my journey.
How long have you been in this relationship?
I have no relationship.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
no, I'm nothing.
Well, I asked you because I was thinking it must be very new. I don't really see it. Yeah. Okay, but that makes sense. You know,
Yes.
when you are evolving and changing, it is very difficult to find, let's say, like-minded people, because the ones that are not evolving at all, sometimes it's very difficult to have a conversation with them because over certain topics, because they just really look at you like you're like from planet Mars, you know,
Yes.
and looking for the sacrificial chicken, you know, and you just know that you, in your deep down inside, you know that you shouldn't be judgmental or whatever it is and be accepting, but you do know that this is going to be too much of a challenge during your lifetime to get them to the place that you're at, let alone somewhere else further along that you might be heading towards. So it is limiting in that sense. That is for sure. One of the things that I find is quite helpful just for yourself when you're filtering people, let's call it. You know, again, it's really hard to put this in a nice way. Not that you pick and choose people like that, but you know, when you're filtering through offers or potential offers, sometimes it really is very helpful just to think of it more in terms of, okay, the physical side is great. There's that attraction, there's chemistry. Intellectually, you know, this is going on. Where can I see us in 5 years in terms of just talking?
Right.
So and don't even think about only the spiritual or your own development. Just, you know, 5 years from now, let me imagine it. What will we be talking about? How does that flow? Because by that alone, somewhere inside your head, you are already discerning the information that you've learned from this person and the subtle nuances that you've picked up from this person. And your brain is already telling you, you know what, you guys have nothing in common. Or, oh, he has potential. Or whatever it is.
Right.
But it helps you really think, my instinct says we won't have much to talk about. So do I want to pursue this? And then your logical brain will start to click into this or that. But if your thought is, you know, I bet we'd be talking about what color the snow is and still arguing about it because we see things in different grades of color, you know, whatever it is, then you already know whether it's spiritual, just normal, that you can visualize still talking about something because the core essence you've recognized already. You know, and obviously the nitty-gritty of relationships is a completely different issue, but it kind of is one way that you can have that prelim filtering process, let's call it, which tends to be very helpful most of the time. Of course, you know, often there's the, oh, he's so gorgeous, he's so hunky, it doesn't matter. You know, there's nothing to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, when I look at your energy, I would say, let's see, we're in December 2016 now. So I would put in January, you'll have an interesting offer, up to you whether you want to take it or not. It won't affect your big picture. I don't think it's going to be a lifetime relationship, but certainly nice all the same. Just because it doesn't end with a lifetime company doesn't mean it's no good. Then you have, for me, your next big relationship energy will come up around between August to October next year. And I really love it a lot. I love it a lot. But the relationship early on will challenge you to see how committed you want to be. One of the things you at that time have to think about for yourself is, can you really give a commitment of that nature? And by that I mean, yeah, it's okay to date someone, but this person wants you to be around. I mean, it doesn't not necessarily have to be, straight into marriage or something like this, but they don't dilly-dally, they want a serious potential relationship or not. So it's up to you to decide whether or not you think you can commit to that. Because to me, when I look at your energy, very often you're like, oh yeah, that's great, and and you go full on, and then you get a bit freaked out and you back off and you're like, oh, I don't know. And during this I don't know, that's a difficult time for another person that might be in a relationship for you. So you have to overcome your own fears of relationship. And to me, I look at the energy with you, and let's say just a relationship energy, and you do have a lot of fear. You want a relationship. You are good at being in a relationship, but your fear always gets you, and the fear of commitment comes from you think that they will leave you and hurt you terribly. So you almost preempt them, and not the only one at all that does this. There are many thousands, hundreds of thousands of people do this, but it's something that you need to recognize within yourself. If you can see it within you, then at least you can be honest about it. Like, even if you can't stop it, you can at least say, look, I want to be in this committed long-term relationship, but I am fearful, and this is what I fear. And, it's so hard to say those words, because then you feel like you're, needy or something, or desperate or whatever, and that's because you're a very strong and proud person, which is great. But it's not a sign of weakness to be honest about emotional. And either way, when you're in that kind of relationship, you're at risk anyway, and that's the sort of truth that you will have to remind yourself. Either way, you don't be honest about it, you'll lose a relationship. You are honest about it, then your own fear is the only thing that comes into play, where you're fearful you'll lose a relationship. So if you approach it that way, you can even tell your own logical mind, well, either way I might lose, so I may as well go for it, right? And it's to say it sounds really easy, but to do it and to be in that space, to be so vulnerable with those words, it's difficult. It is really, really difficult. And if you can't say it in one go, or you really can't get the words out at all, then write it down. Being honest about it, upfront about it, is better than saying nothing.
Right.
So you've got plenty of time to think about that now and mull over it and prepare yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you. I truly appreciate it.
Now, did I address your questions or not?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I have to give everything and I think exactly what you said, just let it marinate over the next couple weeks and everything, because the Chicago thing seems absolutely, I don't know, but I get it. I get what you're saying, and I understand that. So financially, I don't know how that would work, but I know that I can let it marinate and just see what happens, and then maybe even call back in a few weeks and just check in.
Definitely do your research, put your feelers out, because the more that the more that it can happen, and the easier that it can be organized, is already a confidence thing that can encourage you. But certainly, I just treat it like a short span of time. So it's an exploration.
Yes, absolutely. And that in my head seems doable. Short little holiday, 6 weeks, 2 months. That all seems very doable. So I appreciate your insight, and thank you. Thank you kindly.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, you're welcome. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yes, have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, all right, bye. All right, well, that's music. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back, everyone, to Adventures into Reality with myself, Kathy Ma, and normally with Andrew Bartzis, the amazing Galactic historian. Today, however, he's unfortunately can't make it to the show. He is still in the snowy wilds of Canada and with very limited internet access. And also, today is going to be our last show of the year because we are going on Christmas break. So, for all of you who want to know our new schedule for the new year, please check out our websites. So, that's Andrew's website, which is andrewbartzis.com, or my website, which is kathyspearlsofwisdom.com. That's Kathy with a K. Look there for updates, or if you're a subscriber to either of them, then you will get the email to let you know what is coming up for the new year. Thank you again so much, everyone, for listening into the show every week, tuning in, whether it's live or doing the replay. We really, really are very grateful for all the support that you've shown us. We love your calls, and thank you so much for sharing your lives with us. I and Andrew were just talking about it this morning. We just feel so blessed that we're able to share in your lives and be of any help that we can. It's been an amazing journey doing this show, and even when we were doing the Charting Your Course show, also very, very amazing to be able to share information with you all and to hear what's going on for you all, especially the follow-ups. And when you send in feedback via email or in way of comments on the YouTube links, it just is really, really mind-blowingly great. Thank you all so much for everything that you've had to say. Also, to remind everyone, when you do call in, please put everything on mute until we call your name, merely because the background noise does interfere with us sometimes. If you're calling in on Skype, please don't forget you must add Laura Lee to your Skype contacts, as she's the one putting you through. Also, no video calls, just the normal phone calling in. If Laura has not accepted and confirmed you on her Skype account, she can't put you through. So please don't forget to do that. And for all of you who are trying to get through, the lines are always really crazy. So if it keeps getting busy, please just be patient. If you're dialing in, the number to call is 1 for US 956-217-0261. So we'll take our next caller. Wally, are you there?
Hi, Kathy. Hi, Laura Lee.
Hey, Wally, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Michigan. Under the snow.
Wow. Yeah, you must have a lot of snow there.
The snow and cold. I think we're still in single digits.
Oh, lovely.
but we have a heat wave coming up tomorrow. I think we're going to be 30, 34 degrees. So that'll be nice to get a heat wave.
Oh, that will be nice. We've also just got the cold weather starting again today after having a lovely warm day yesterday. I've got all my thermal underwear out, so I'm prepared.
Yeah.
What would you like to talk about, Wally?
Kathy, there's a lot of things going on right now, and I try to keep everything positive, try to keep a lot of other people positive, but it just seems a lot of negativity around, and just trying to eliminate the negativity. I know things are changing, and I'm trying to figure out how to unlock that door or open that door.
You do seem to have a lot of confusion and chaos around you. That is true. Are you involved with something that's very complicated?
No, I don't think so. Maybe.
So complicated you don't know.
I've taken a lot of things, and just because of the confusion in making poor judgment before, what I think is poor judgment, maybe it's not. I just kind of sitting back and not really making a decision right now because I'm just not sure.
Can you give me an example of poor judgment, what you think is poor judgment?
Well, money has been a poor judgment, thinking I'm making the right decisions and people taking advantage of me. I had some dental work done, and the doctor talked me into dentures, and oh man, I had gotten lead poisoning, and slowly my teeth were going bad. So, and of course they promised me you're going to be able to eat this, and that's not happened yet.
Yes, that sucks.
In fact, I had a lady on the internet, I see good things happening for you, and, just lead me on, and, send in $249, and then it drops to $199, then it drops to $99, I see $20,000, within the month, within 4 weeks, and, I've just had so many of those. And they're only interested in the money, but it's, at desperate times, you really think about those things. But, are we just wasting our money? And yes, normally we are.
When you say you've made poor, financial decisions before, I look at your energy and I'd say, I don't know that I'd call, all of them poor, poor or bad judgment decisions. I think to me, let me put it like this. When I look at your life, I would say it's a 50-50 kind of thing. Yes, certainly some are probably not the best decisions you could have made. And were you sort of steamrolled into it? Sure. But some of the ones you really did make calculated risk assessment before you did them. And with the world the way it is, the global economy, etc. I mean, some things are not foreseeable, for, let's say, the average decision-making process. So unlucky, certainly all bad decisions. I wouldn't really put it like that. But certainly there has been a few people that have, quite proactively relieved you of some cash with that intention. But yes. If we were to look at it as a whole and think about the issue of, am I just, going to all my life going to have this financial loss here and there? Am I going to always be tricked by charlatans? Should I not even trust myself with financial decisions? Stuff like this, I would say no. Some of the decisions you made, sure, weren't the wisest, but a lot of decisions you made were based on sound judgment. It's just the world has changed so much over the last 8 to 10 years that a lot of things that went on that resulted in financial loss were beyond your control. I mean, you couldn't have predicted it. Most of us couldn't have predicted it, that kind of situation. So I don't think that you're got bad luck all your life with stuff like this, because I can see that is in the back of your mind. So dismiss that thought first. I also think that you will have opportunities that come up for you this coming 12 months for investments. I want you to say no. A lot of the opportunities that come up to you are not going to provide you with financial increase. So to me, if you don't have a financial increase or betterment of circumstances, then there is no point. If you were to give money away over the next 12 months, think of it as a gift. Don't think of it as an investment. And so that means also if you lend money, think of it as a gift. So I'm not saying don't give people money, just in your mind, that's how you have to treat it. For me, when I look at what's coming up for you, I would say when we hit around 2018 to 2020, that time period, you'll have 2 big opportunities to do what I would call investment. So that means it can be property, it can be stock, it can be currency, anything like that. Those are the ones that I like. And you would recognize them easily because you'd be like, oh, that's a lot of money. That kind of consideration. But there will be something that's in your gut instinct that you just know. And it won't be like before how you think you just knew. This is almost like you can feel like if you looked at the opportunity, if you could visualize it in your head, you would actually see a radiation of gold coming out of it. I'm exaggerating, but that's pretty much kind of how it would look. I'm trying to give you a lot of visuals so that you can easily identify it and not worry that you're not going to identify it. Because if you talk to me or not, those opportunities would come for you. But those are the ones I want you to pay attention on and that I do see financial gain for, so I like them. Next 12 months, don't like it at all. So that, I'm sure, will answer a lot of your questions that you have now and that come up over the next 12 months. When I look at what's gone on for your teeth, to me, it looks like certainly something dramatic was needed to be done. Possibly the work you had done is not really to your satisfaction, but I think the person that did it did the best that they could with their skill set. So, it was a genuine fixer-upper to the best of that person's ability. I think, to me, when I look at what's going on for your teeth, I think you still need to have one or two more minor adjustments, and then you'll be pleased with it.
Yeah, I was going to ask him to redo them. He's got him kicked off to the side. I keep biting into my left side. I keep coughing because the uppers are too long, covering my palate I don't like. I was almost going to ask him, can you give me the material and let me build my teeth and then make the mold and then you cast them? He didn't make the teeth long enough. When I bite into something, I got to pretty much rip it and then send it to the back in order to chew on it.
I think it needs like one or two, let's call them more minor adjustments. But I'm not sure that guy has the skill set that is required.
Okay.
If he's going to do it like for free as a follow-up part, sure, I would let him do it again on a chance. But if you're going to pay for it, I think you need to find someone else. And to me, whoever can do this will tell you that's a simple job. If they say to you, oh, no, I have to redo the whole thing, then that's not the guy for you. Because whoever can fix these for you, it's a simple job for them, and they will tell you that is the case.
Okay. One other question. I've got a very important issue coming up at the end of March, financially. And I'm concerned. I'm not worried. I don't worry. I have concerns, but it's very important. Is that issue, do you think, would be resolved before the end of March?
When you say issue, you mean that someone should
financially,
like return money to you, or
like taxes, property taxes?
Oh, so what do you mean? Is the tax going to be less than what you're anticipating, or?
Well, I bill to cover it.
Oh, I see. It'll be tight. It'll be very tight. I think if you, because they want a lot of money. Hang on, let me just look at that. Yeah.
I don't like the hesitation, Kathy.
No, because they want a lot of money. No, well, sometimes it's not about whether or not you can actually just do it. It's about how you can do it that suits your schedule as well, right? Yeah. What I would suggest is, and I think you can definitely do, is talk to whatever department, the tax department, and ask them if you can do part payments over the year. Because even though it might be a teeny bit more, it's easy for you and you don't feel the pinch the same.
Okay, well, I don't think that's out of the question because it's 3 years now, so I think
if you ask and put it like that, they will say yes. But okay. I prefer that option because it doesn't. Yeah, when you're paying one lot, it's like everything is tight. It's tense. But if you can do it over that kind of time, it's very achievable for you without feeling that.
Yeah, the other thing is the income coming in is not there because of. I'm still trying to catch up from 3-4 years ago now when I had cataracts. I couldn't see. Being a graphic artist, that's part of the whole thing of society. and I do have my eyes fixed, and but it's just I can seem to take care of the bills, but I just need to take care of this, get this other thing. And I was kind of hoping, there might be something in my near future, one of these investments or one of these things are going to come through to.
So you already have investments out there. Is that what you mean? And you're hoping that they would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here we.
I don't love it. I think that one or two you could probably get back pretty much what you put in.
Okay.
So, I mean, which is good in terms of it's not a loss. The others, I don't think. Maybe one or two you could get pretty much the same amount back, but the others, I think, is more long term. To let's say to cash out anytime soon, there would be loss, because it's just the way it is. I don't think that someone, I don't think these are like deliberately run off with your money or anything like that. But I think it's just not possible to get the kind of return that you would in that situation. Let's put it like that. The economy is hurting everyone in all sorts of different and weird ways. So it flows all down through the chain.
Okay.
Yeah. But when I look at for you, let's say in terms of money coming in, to me, it looks like you could very easily do some sort of freelance stuff if you wanted to. Do you not want to do that?
I'm always picking up a little bit here and there. It's a little bit.
I think I'd say to you, be more proactive. Let me give you that little nudge that you need. Step a little bit outside the box. Go out of your comfort zone, because there's a lot of people that need stuff that you do, but they just can't have, they just don't have the money to do a full-time or have an agency, but they really don't know about people like you that exist. So put the word out, tell your friends, look on the websites that are in that industry. They're looking for people, and just approach them. Because when you do, for me, when I look at what's going on for you, you could easily pick up freelance per job things that is even half cash up front.
Okay.
So it instantly gives you some, very nice breathing space, gives you something to do in your own time. You could do that from home. You wouldn't necessarily have to go in anywhere. And it's something that, once you do a few more, they have friends, it works word of mouth. But for me, I think that's a very plausible option for you, because to go back full time in your current situation seems tough. It seems unrealistic, let's say, for a myriad of reasons. But this is a nice oozing back in while earning some money, and also not having to deal with, the politics or people in your face or whatever. You can either choose to accept a Skype call or not, right? Pick up the phone or not. Not the same as someone walking in saying, why? It's a different energy that goes with it, which I think you would gel well with.
You sound like you're talking about the new distributorship that I've picked up on Kaleido Silver. This is the Kaleido Silver soap, hand cream. That's what I'm trying to get rolling right now. A friend of mine makes the best Kaleido Silver, and he infuses it in soap and in healing cream.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it sounds like, and that's what I've been pushing.
Good. Well, then get more pushy. Go get it.
Yeah, that's where it sounds like you're talking with that.
Definitely go get it, because you just step out of your comfort zone, because it's theirs for the taking if you want it. I think you just have to want it more. You think it's going to be pushy, but it's not pushy. It's just the way it is. Okay. You're too, you in terms of a person, your energy, you're very low key in that sense. You're very, how do you say it in English? Very polite, very, sweet, like the little old lady. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Whereas I'm saying, look, just go out there and tell them that you want it like this. Not, hello, can I have it? No, no. You have to be more, go get it. But for you, when you feel like you're like it's too much, you just go getting energy. For the rest of us, that'd be just normal. It's just because you're coming from a place of great politeness that it seems more too much.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're
welcome. But certainly that is a place to start. And don't just limit yourself to one freelancing. Look for others as well. Because the more you do, the more varied, let's call it, topics, or the more varied odd jobs, or whatever you want to call it, you do, the more that creative juice within you starts to really activate into that overdrive. And when you're in that energy, you're like amazing. You're like 10 foot tall, unbeatable. I love it. You're in that zone where everything else ceases to exist. And that's a beautiful place to be. It really is, because everything within you is just going full ball. All your chakras are just woo! And the world is an amazing place. Okay, Wally, can you hold on a minute? We're about to go into a break, and I'll get back to you.
All right.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone, to Adventures into Reality with myself, Kathy Ma, and usually Andrew Bartzis, the amazing Galactic historian. However, due to the snowy conditions in Canada, he is unable to get complete internet access today, so he will not be on today's show. And for those of you that might have missed it, today is our last show of the year. If you want to know what our schedule is for next year, please visit both our websites, or either of them. So for Andrew, that's andrewbartzis.com, or my website, kathyspearlsofwisdom.com. That's Kathy with a K. For any updates, you will also receive an email with the new schedules if you're on our email subscription list. So you can join either of them to find out what's going on, or just keep checking the websites. And for those of you who are interested in a private session and that want to go deeper with your questions with either Andrew or myself, please go ahead and call the office now at 1 for US 360-894-0692. Or you can contact Tenoch at Tenoch, Tenoch, at galactichistorian.com. So, Wally, are you still there?
Still here.
Excellent. So did I manage to get you to understand completely how great your energy is when you're operating at that level?
Yes.
Excellent.
Very helpful. In fact, while we're on break, Michael, who makes the silver, just talked with me because a package was sent there from one of my distributors for me, and I just wanted to make sure it was there. But he had called on the break, so that was kind of nice.
Wow.
He
Synchronicity.
Well, he says, because I'm trying to, there's a person in Australia I want to get this product to, but I just need to get a zip code so I know what the shipping is going to be. And he says, we'll send out samples wherever they need to go.
Nice. Australia, I like it. I like it a lot. Energy looks good. But there should be more than one person you're going to contact in Australia, right?
I'm hoping to, but I'm also kind of hoping that this person wants to take off in Australia with it and become, a distributor of mine, over there. So,
well, when I look at Australia for you, to me it looks like there are distinctly 3 different people that would be very good for you. So if you're at the moment you're only contacting one, I would consider others or ask for recommendations from him for other people as well.
It's a her, but yes.
A her.
Yes. Oh, so you see a him, huh?
Yeah, I definitely see a him, but then again, we're talking about 3 people, so I guess it could be anyone. I would definitely look further though than what you just have, because to me, it's like you definitely have 3 good forerunners. That would be very good.
Okay. Good.
Where else have you considered doing it?
Well, I've got 2 people out in California right now, and one of them is an acupuncturist, and works with herbs, so that's good, naturals. That one I do feel will be a very good one. And I don't know. I'm just kind of putting feelers out there because it is a very good product. The best on the market, according to the University of Michigan, or Michigan State, excuse me, where he sends and gets it tested. So, you know, there's some good points about the product. So
I like Virginia for you in this product. I also like, and I can't account for this, I like Arkansas. I also like, what is that called? I'm not 100% familiar with the US map yet. Let me just have a think about what is that place called. To me, it looks like Montana.
Montana.
Yeah. It doesn't seem to make logical sense, but I would definitely contact someone in Montana, because it is possible that the person you want is in Montana at this current time.
Okay.
Not necessarily would be in Montana long term, but certainly have a look, because I think that area the person's name would pop out at you.
Okay.
And to me, it looks like someone that you've dealt with before.
Ooh, I don't know. Yeah, okay, I don't know anybody in Montana, but that's not maybe their residence. Maybe they're just there, so.
Yeah, or maybe they didn't used to be there and aren't planning to stay there long. Yeah, to me, it doesn't make logical sense to me either, yet that is where I see this person.
Okay. Well, you know, I like to send out samples for people to try because the word of mouth travels. At some point, I'd like to get a address to send you a sample of it, Laura Lee, because it's a reasonably priced. The soap, the facial bar, the shampoo bar, the bath bar. They're very good in price. They're very good for you. Once people try them, they fall in love with them.
Oh, wow. That sounds
because it's
wonderful.
all natural. So, and I think what I'm going to do is pick up a lot of samples and send off samples to people. And you're in Canada, is it?
No, I'm actually in the South.
Okay. Well, that's good. Shipping.
I'm new to the South. I'm still adapting to saying it. I live in the South. All my life, I'm like, oh. But yes, hold on later, and Laura will help you with our postal stuff.
Hold Laura. I like Laura, and we know each other, so.
But yes, I look at your product, and the energy around it. I like it a lot. I think what you do, what the product does, is very, very good. I really do like the product. I think that you will have more success with it when you are more, what is the word? Less enthusiastic about it with people. Like, for me, when I look at your presentation with people, and I'm not talking about what you just told me, but whatever you write or however you talk to people, you give them too much information.
Yeah, tell me that.
You need to give them less information, give them the product, and then the follow-up after they've tried it, and they're more receptive to the info. At the beginning, it's too much, and people are like, yeah, and they're not as super excited and keen to start it immediately and try it out. So just think a bit more low-key on your presentation, and you'll have more success with getting it out quicker.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, do you have a daughter?
No, I don't. I don't have any kids.
Niece? Like...
Yeah.
Someone close to you that you would consider a daughter?
Yeah. I haven't seen them or heard from them in over a year. My sister is an alcoholic and trying to punish mother, and also with me.
How old is she?
The niece is 10 years old. My sister is about 40.
And her daughter?
About 10.
10. Okay. Okay.
Very
I
intelligent.
ask you because it's just so, I think she'll come back into your life. If she's not around in your life much at the moment, I think she will. Who knows how these things happen, but be open to it. Because to me, her energy is so close, so bright with yours that, it surprises me that you don't have a daughter, because it's that energy that is around you, and it's going to be around you a lot. So I'm liking that a lot, because I think that what you have to teach and what you have to give is just going to be so good for this kid. She seems to be down at the moment, like not depressed, but not at that age, I guess it's not, it's only highs and lows. There's no in the middle of the road. So not that she's like really depressed, but she's bopping between normal and down.
Well, yeah, I'm sure she misses her bushi, which is grandmother in Polish, because mother raised them for 10 years, or helped raise them, because my sister would rather drink than take care of kids. And I do sense that, and I'm just kind of staying out of it, not trying. I don't even know how to contact my sister. I don't know where she's at, where the kids are at. I have an idea, but I can't contact them right now.
Well, I think you'll find that especially let's say over the next 8 months, you will reconnect. Who knows how these things happen, but it will happen. At that moment, just be very open to what you can do for her, because she's at a point in her life where, the niece, at a point in her life where she really needs some stability, some guidance, a confidant, and someone who will just treat her nice, without expectation. Because to me, it looks like for her, everything is about a trade-off. You will get this if you do blah, 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 blah. And when you're that young, kids can't think in those terms. And when they eventually learn to think in those terms, it changes them. It changes the way you view life into possibly a really not so positive way. And your self-esteem just keeps diving. So what you can do for her beyond, love and support is that you can actually teach her to stand on her own 2 feet coming from a positive place, and coming from a place where she understands how special she is. And it's non-committal, non-expectations, unconditional. That's the word I'm thinking of. Because for her, I think that is something that she's lacking a lot, and it's going to form her into a being that she's not really meant to be.
Yeah, these 2 kids are very special kids, and my sister doesn't see how special they are. She will. It's just taking some time, and I don't throw anybody away.
Do you happen to know, does your sister live a high-risk life?
I think so. I thought I was going to end up with the 2 kids if she didn't straighten out. And like I said, I have no idea what's going on. And I would be more than happy to take these 2 kids.
Yeah. Well, they certainly are very lucky to have you in their life. One of the things I will say to you in terms of help for later down the line is always stay centered, because when kids come from even just a few months exposed to a very troubled life, they learn to manipulate.
Yep.
And the stuff that comes out of their mouth, they're just parroting what they've learned. It's not at
Yep.
all what they think or how can I put this? It's like be prepared for manipulation and hurtful remarks that really aren't about you, and they really probably don't even know what they mean. It's just
Sure.
that's what they've been learning.
Yeah, this day and age with kids is just you got to be really, really careful. So
Yeah,
I
that
see
is true. Yeah.
I see that. So
Mm. So, did you have another question you'd like to ask?
no, that's about it. I have to get out and cut some wood before we get dark. I got a couple hours, and I'm blessed with equipment and with wood. I have property that I cut it off from. So, Kathy, thank you so much. Laura, thank you for putting me through, and have a wonderful holiday and a wonderful Christmas and New Year's.
Thank you so much, Wally. You have a great day too, and Merry Christmas for you too.
Thank you, Kathy.
Wow, what a wonderful call. It's always so nice to share in people's lives and see what's going on. And all of us, when we listen to other callers, there's something that resonates within us that we either have those similar kind of issues or we have someone that we know that has these kind of issues. And it really helps to look at our own lives and our own what's going on around us and to gain more insight and knowledge into how to deal with it, how to move through it. And sometimes it's even nice to know that you're not the only one, you're not alone, because it's so often very easy to think that it's just you and, the world just doesn't understand you. In fact, there are many people out there that do. It's just that you probably don't know them. So when you do have something to share, it's really magical for other people. So let me just say again, I did forget to say this at the beginning of the break. For those of you that are calling in through Skype and are trying to get through, please don't forget you need to add Laura Lee as your Skype contact, as she's the one that's putting you through. And if she has not accepted and confirmed you on her Skype contact, she can't be able to put you through. So her Skype contact is Laura Lee Solomon. And the phone number to call is 1 for US 956-217-0261. So we're having some crazy things going on with getting through. So please be patient and we'll try our best. One of the things I would like to talk a little bit about today is, with Christmas coming up and we're all reviewing what's going on, where for many of us, there's a lot of stress that has started. Not only the stress of finishing up the year, it's like, oh my goodness, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. There's like 10,000 million things I'm supposed to do before the new year. So that's a stress that we're putting on ourselves, and sometimes that other people are putting on us because they want projects finished before the end of the year, this or that. It's really very difficult sometimes to take a break and step back and think about it, because even just saying it, you think, oh, but if I step back, take a break and think about it, I'm wasting time that I could be doing this, that, and the other. Whereas it's more about being grounded, being centered, because during this hectic time, more and more so, you need to focus on being grounded, because the more grounded you are, the more that you are deep within your own self and connected with who you are, the easier things will flow for you, and it'll be easier to discern what is important, what is not important, what needs to be done first, and what needs to be done last. Because it's not about what other people think, it's about what you think. But if you're not grounded, what other people think and are bombarding at you is what you take on board as being the priority list, when really you need to check back in with yourself and think about, wait a minute, that's not the priority. This is the priority. So that's one thing that I'd like you all to sort of take a breath, sit back and think about that. And, as much fun and wonderful energy as the holidays are with catching up with all friends and family, it is also a very, very stressful time. when you put that much family together in one place at one time, especially if you only see each other once a year, it can be very stressful, because even though you love each other, it doesn't really mean that you can get along with each other for a few days, or in many cases, all staying at the same place. The old sibling rivalries come back out. The fact that you don't like so and so and still don't like them is there. People wanting to organize you when you don't want to be organized, people deciding a menu without asking you, etc. I mean, there's a trillion things that go on during the holidays, and not just Christmas, all holidays where you have so much family get together. It's an important time to think about. It doesn't all really matter that much. Even though it would be nice to be recognized and honored, it's more important that you stay focused on being grounded and enjoying the moment. Even if people are annoying you here and there, don't forget what is the real point of all of this. It's that you get to see people, family that you love, that you may not see all the time, and to try and make a connection with them that you may not get the opportunity to do again. And I don't mean because they're old and ill. It doesn't have to be that. Life is so unpredictable. If this year of the monkey has taught us nothing, it is that life is unpredictable, and all kind of things can happen. You look back, well, I look back over this year, and I certainly see a lot of things that I wish I had spent more time with. Not that I didn't spend a lot of time, but there were a few things that I might have done or I might have said to show people and to remind them about how much they meant to me and how much they hold meaning for me all throughout my life, and how much I had loved them. And all of a sudden, just like that, that opportunity might not be there again. And when that happens, it's a time of reflection and a time of thinking, did I do enough? So if you do a lot of that every day, all the time, then that is something that is wonderful and great. But I think a lot of us, we might do it on and off, but we forget to do it on a regular basis because we assume we always have more time. And that's not necessarily the case. When you all meet together for the holidays, sometimes you're so enraged or so infuriated with some of the family that you can't even think of saying, I love you, or you were there for me when I was young, when I was 7 in the playground. You protected me, even though I really don't want to talk to you right now because you annoy me. I thank you. I thank you for what you've done for me in my life, throughout my life, and I thank you for being part of it. Even saying something like that, if you're fighting with your relatives or your loved ones during this period and you're not talking to them, just think about maybe whether or not you could reconnect with them, even just for a quick phone call or a text message, because you never really know what's going on for other people as well. Even though you might not be talking to them at the moment, it doesn't mean that you can't think of them, and it doesn't mean that you can't send them a kind word or a loving word. And some of us will be around relatives that we've detested all our lives. And not that I'm encouraging you just to tell them how much you detest them all your life, but maybe it's a time where you can start to maybe come up with one positive thought that that person has done for you. If you really detest them or hate them that much, did they not give you the ability to be more discerning in your everyday life and recognize the people that are not very nice to them and avoid that kind of personality type? I mean, whatever it may be, it's a time where you really can connect with yourself and look for that truth within yourself. What are you grateful for? And Thanksgiving is the same. What are you grateful for? What experiences are you blessed with? Or which ones did you wish you had? Even if you want to say something to, let's say, I'll make an example, to your mother, like, I love you, Mom, But I really wish that you had given me the attention you did my other siblings when I was young, because it's really made my life very hard. But I can appreciate that you tried your best, and I still love you for it. You know, okay, it's double-edged sword to say, but at least you've acknowledged it, you've been honest, and you've honored your mum for having at least tried her best. Whether it was enough for you or not, different story, different issue altogether, but thankful all the same that she brought you into this life and that she did look after you. It's a time where we also start planning for next year. What do we hope for? What are our dreams? What are our goals? What are our aspirations? And start making a list. And I don't mean a list like a New Year's resolution kind of list. It's more like, what kind of things do you want to put out there to create your abundance? What is it that you would like this year? For example, maybe you want to invite more love into your life or more joy. Maybe you would like to have better communication with people. Obviously, who wouldn't want to win the Powerball? You could put that on your list too, but that's a bit more extreme. Maybe we can focus on the everyday stuff that we would love to enjoy. For me, I always invite more joy and laughter into my life. Well, that's the music coming up. So thank you so much for tuning in today. It's been a really, really great show. Thank you so much for listening to